Hi, it's Daphne. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be telling you about all the books I read in October. I know this video is kind of late. I'm bringing this out kind of late. It's already November 18th when I'm filming this. Geez, yeah, very late. But these are the books I read in October last month. I finished 5 books and 2 of them were novellas. So I was slumping super hard in October. I was going through a lot of stuff with like work, so I didn't have a lot of bandwidth, mental capacity to read that much, but I do still want to get this video out to you and share the books that I read. So let's get started. So the first book I read is a manga, which also is like a short, easy read out of the 5. So again, like I said, I didn't do that great in October. But this is the 2nd volume of Sweat and Soap. This cover is just so fun. So this is like an adult romance manga where these 2 people work at a soap company. It's kind of like Johnson & Johnson. He is like the scent guy. He creates all these beautiful scents for their collections, and she works in the finance department. He comes across her one day, smells her. He thinks she smells like the best thing ever, and it's their like romantic story. And it's really cute. I have a good time with it, and I like that it's adult because, as you can tell from the cover, it's not like, oh, we're all cute and innocent like a lot of shoujo manga can be, which I appreciate. I love some steamy, intimate moments. So I really enjoyed this. I ended up giving it 5 stars. I do have volume 3 and I will read that probably in December. Then I read a highly anticipated book. This was The Kraken Sacrifice by Katie Roberts. This is the 2nd book in their, what is it called? A Deal with the Demon series. And I was just so disappointed. I ended up giving this 2 stars. Yeah, I really enjoyed the first one in the series. I think it's called The Dragon's Bride. I think I gave that like 4 stars. I reread like my favorite scenes all the time because that's the kind of person I am. But this one, the Kraken Sacrifice did nothing for me. I thought there was a lot of potential between the Kraken and the human couple. Like, he has tentacles and stuff. But I don't know. It was just kind of boring. He was like avoiding her for most of the story. He didn't want to like love her, and she was just kind of whiny as far as I remember. And they only had like 1 real intimate moment, and I was just not that impressed. I'll still continue the series when she comes out with other stuff, but I'm not sure if they're on Kindle Unlimited because I did end up buying both of them for my Kindle instead of like just using Kindle Unlimited, but if they're on Kindle Unlimited, that would be better going forward. Then I read a novella called Love, Laugh, Lich by Kate Pryor. This I got at the recommendation of one of the romance booktube girlies. I think they were like doing a collab with someone on novella books, so that's where I got the next 2 novellas that I ended up reading. This one is like an office romance, but it's the end of the world, and this Lich, or this Leech, how do you say it? Lich?
Lich.
Lich. Lich like bitch. But this Lich is like the dark lord of the world now, but he works in an office and he has all these like normal human office workers. So the secretary is our heroine and she falls in love with the Lich. He's like a hooded, bodiless creature, but when he takes off his hood, he's like this huge monster guy, and they have their thing. I ended up giving this 2 stars as well. I didn't like it that much. I think the storyline could be cool, but I don't know. It was just really rushed. I mean, it's a novella, but still. I was like, why do you guys like each other? And I also think there were some like editing mistakes that I couldn't really overlook. Yeah. It wasn't that memorable, so I'm sorry. I didn't like it that much. It was fine, I guess, but like, I don't know. I just didn't see any chemistry between them at all. Then I read Kingsized by Jessa Kane. This was another novella. This was actually good. I gave this 4 stars. I had a fun time reading it. So, I mean, I had a fun time reading it, but there were still like logical errors because the story takes place in an old-timey kingdom. This young girl, she's like 18 or 19. Her parents just died. They were like assassinated or like you know, attacked and murdered, and now she's the queen. She has all of these guards, and the biggest, scariest guard is in love with her. She doesn't know this, but we're getting back and forth perspective, so we know he's in love with her. He like saw her one day. He used to be like a blacksmith or something, like making weapons, and he saw her and he's like, oh my god, I need to give my life to her and like protect her. So he like quit doing that and became a guard so he could be closer to her and protect her, with no expectations of like being in a relationship with her. After her parents die, like literally that's where the story starts, she's crying, and he grew up with sisters, so he's like, somebody needs to comfort her, but all the other guards are like, oh, we can't, we'll just leave her in her room alone to be miserable and cry. And he's like, no, I'm gonna go in there and like comfort her. And that's like where the story begins, and it's their relationship and like how they get to know each other, and her just getting the comfort she needs, and him just being so obsessed with her. There's a little bit of a kinky twist to it too. He loves being commanded by her. He's just like, tell me what to do, boss me around, you know, like he's this big guy and this small petite young woman is like bossing him around, and it like totally turns him on. It butters his biscuit or whatever. So I really liked that. But like logically, it didn't make sense because they were alone a lot. Like she would just wander off by herself, and she's like, he's my one personal guard. I don't need these other guards, it's just him. But like, that would never fly, because then they got intimate together, or they had opportunities to be intimate together, and it's like, she's the queen. Like her virginity is so valuable in this kind of world. So, but it made for a fun story. I would recommend it if you just want like a quick palate cleanser. It was fun. And then the last book I finished in October was Sea of Ruin. This literally took me like over a month to read. I don't even know when I started reading it. Oh gosh, man. I'm just looking at my tracker. I ended up giving this 2.5 stars. Barely kind of controversial. I'm pretty sure Meredith DM'd me or like commented on my vlog while I was reading this, being like, oh, that's controversial that you didn't like it. And I'm like, I'm just spitting the truth. I just gotta be honest. Like there were things that were really good. Like, okay, so the book is about a pirate captain, this woman, and her pirate lover, and then she gets captured by a pirate hunter, and then like they have a romantic relationship. She is like done with her husband. There was something that happened in their past that I won't necessarily spoil, and she hasn't seen him in like 2 years, but he's hunting her, like he wants her back. And it's this kind of love triangle situation. This book is also quite dark, like heartbreakingly dark, but the writing style really ruined it for me personally. I felt like the main heroine, the way she described her men was like over the top too much. Like he's the best thing ever, he's the epitome of manhood, but like flowery and just like too much for me. Like it made my eyes roll too many times. And there was just like a lull in the middle section. Like her building the relationship with the pirate hunter was just weird for me. I didn't really love it, but I did really, really enjoy the latter half of the story. I felt like the plot was really picking up, and I liked when all three of the characters were in the same place and figuring out what this means for her to be like in love with these two men. And yeah, I really, really enjoyed that aspect. There are more elements that come in between the three of them that I just love. Chef's kiss, so good. It was just the writing that really wrecked it for me. So, and the fact that it took me so freaking long to read it was just not a good sign. So like I said, I gave it 2.5 stars, but it could work for other people. I mean, a lot of other people really like this book. So that's my controversial opinion on that. Maybe, I don't know. I feel like I've only ever heard good things about it. So maybe it's controversial, maybe it's not. I don't know. All right, so those are the books I read in October. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe down below if you haven't already. And I'll catch you in another video. Bye.